going to call the meeting to order.
Exodus.
Wow. Good morning, everybody. Would you please join me for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're ringing.
Me?
Well, this is ringing.
Phone,
The
this
phone was
one.
ringing.
Oh,
Yeah.
somebody calling in?
It
They
may
want to know
be
if you want to
Pamela
buy solar for
Owen.
your house.
It may be Pamela Owen.
Nope.
Well, they're not
Trying to answer it?
there
Is it going to blow up?
Car warranty.
I said solar array.
In my 1954 Chevy, my warranty just ran out. Public notice statement, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice having been posted on the board's office and website, emailed to the Department of State, and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden?
Here.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakula?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
President Fertiliso?
Here. And our next meeting is scheduled for
The next regular board meeting will be live streamed via YouTube on Wednesday, May 4th at 10 a.m.
I think it's April, isn't it? Don't we have one in April?
Just this one.
Just this one.
I'm sorry?
The next meeting is May 4th.
Oh,
Wait, one meeting.
We're not having April 20, okay? Thank you.
I would have been here on April,
Come here.
Yeah, me too.
thank you, sorry about that. And as you see, we have our acting board secretary, Carmen Diaz. And, as you know, Ada Camacho Welch, retired. And, after many, many years with us. We are going to go into executive session today, and we'll be addressing the following items under telecommunications in the matter of broadband access study commission, and under clean energy, the matter of FY22 budget modifications. The board will take action on these items during the regular session. Executive session will last approximately 30 minutes. And will the Attorney General's office read the justification? Michael?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Item 4A and 8A fall within the contract negotiation exception to the Open Public Meetings Act. This exception is found in New Jersey Statute 10:4-12B7.
Thank you, Michael. Before I ask for a motion to go into executive session, I just want to make mention of the fact again, as I did the last meeting, the public is welcome to attend in person, or they can continue to enjoy via live stream our meetings, but certainly the public is welcome to attend anytime they'd like. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're in executive session. Anyone who is not a member of the Board of Public Utilities, if I may ask you to leave, please. You all set? You all set? Couple of things I'd like to mention before we go into our regular agenda items. Taryn, would you like to introduce our new Deputy Chief of Staff?
Yes. We're pleased to welcome Henry Gaida as our Deputy Chief of Staff, started last week. Comes to us after an extensive career in public policy and advocacy in New Jersey, and we're really glad to have him on board.
Henry, welcome, and we look forward to advancing on some of your expertise. And we're happy to have you here. You have a good mentor. Just don't listen to her much, and everything will be fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Was that good advice, Taryn?
Perfect.
Yeah. Also, I believe today is JB's last board meeting. JB, on behalf of the citizens of New Jersey, I want to thank you for your service, even though it has been a short one. We appreciate the expertise that you brought to our agency and wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you, President.
On April 22nd is Earth Day. And I think this is the 50th anniversary, am I correct?
1970,
1970.
I was involved.
So it's over 50 years. And Bob was 4 when he got involved, is that right?
Sorry?
You were 4 years old when you got involved?
A little older than that.
Yeah.
I was drinking age.
So it just reminds us that we have an obligation to this piece of real estate that we live on. And an obligation not only for today, but for the future. And it is extremely important that we continue ahead in promoting and encouraging our fellow citizens to be conscientious stewards of our earth, and that we constantly work toward making the earth a carbon-free environment. And I think we're on the right road to do that. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a lot of hard work. But we can certainly achieve it if we are conscientious enough to know that whatever we do is going to assist and help future generations. And that's really what it's all about. The generations that are going to come after us. They're going to judge us on what we do to protect our environment and our earth in general. I want to thank Governor Murphy for proclaiming April Underground Damage Prevention Month. And it's the time of the year where a lot of digging goes on. We have to be careful. Before anyone digs, they should call. And we've had too many accidents over the years where people have not reached out to one call before they start digging. And whether it's a gas line or some other kind of line, we're potentially putting people's lives in danger. I also would like to wish everyone a happy Easter and a happy Passover. And those who are celebrating Ramadan, I wish you a blessed Ramadan. Arrearages, we keep talking about arrearages. You have to call your utility. Those who have arrearages, and they will point you in the right direction. We have reached out as an agency. Utilities have reached out individually and collectively. They're willing to help. They're willing to set up a payment plan. They're willing to direct you. to assistance programs that are available. We're here to assist and point you in the right direction. The BPU funds some of these assistance programs that are administered by Department of Community Affairs. It's a collective state effort. There is help available. And it's up to you to reach out to seek that help. So please, reach out and seek that help. Do any of my colleagues have any comments to make?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think, as you said, the Earth Day is very important. We've been celebrating for more than 50 years, and there are a lot of traditions. The different countries celebrate Earth Day in different ways, and just the northern part of India, Chinese border is they celebrated, they were celebrating New Year Day, and they took a pledge that they're going to do everything possible to reduce decarbonizing the world, and they went and jumped in the ice water river, and they took the pledge. And I think we should take similar pledge by hugging the earth. Thank you.
Well, you jump in the ice water first, and then I'll follow you. How's that?
I have done a lot of that, yeah. Bare chested, I rolled on earth. You can do all that, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, Madam Secretary, the consent agenda, please.
On the following consent agenda items, 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 4B, 6A, and 9A.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Thank you. That brings us to audits. And Bob, I think you're presenting the first item.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, President and Commissioners. Item 1A is in the matter of an audit of affiliate transactions between New Jersey Natural Gas, its parent New Jersey Resources, and the affiliates for an 8-year period. The audit will review New Jersey Natural Gas's compliance with affiliate standards and a comprehensive management audit of New Jersey Natural Gas Company. An RFP, which included a Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the audit, has been drafted for your consideration. Phase 1 will examine affiliate transactions as well as cost allocations between Natural and its parent and affiliates. In addition, Phase 1 will consider the company's compliance with board rules and statutes regarding affiliate and fair competition. Phase 2 is a comprehensive management audit to review the management and operations of the company, and will examine all the major functional areas of Natural's operations. The areas to be examined are outlined in the draft RFP with some specificity as to scope. And staff recommends that the board permit audit staff to release the RFP to the pool of the 6 pre-qualified management consultants to solicit bids to perform the work.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes. All right, 1B, Bill? That's Bill Foley.
Division of Audits. This is going to sound very similar. Item 1B, this matter involves staff requests to commence an affiliated audit transaction between Elizabethtown Gas Company, its parent South Jersey Industries, past holding companies, and ETG's affiliates for a 12-year period. This review will also include a review of Elizabethtown's compliance with affiliated standards and a comprehensive management audit of Elizabethtown Gas Company. The request for proposal, which includes a Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the audit, has been drafted for your consideration. Phase 1 will examine affiliate transactions as well as cost allocations between ETG and its parents and affiliates. In addition, Phase 1 will consider ETG's compliance with board rules and statutes regarding affiliate and fair competition. Phase 2 will be a comprehensive management audit to review the management and operations of the company and will examine all major and functional areas of ETG's operations. Areas to be examined are outlined in the draft RFP. Staff recommends that the board permit audit staff to release the RFP to the pool of 6 pre-qualified management consultants to solicit bids to perform the scope of work.
So moved. Second.
Questions, comments for Bill? And of course, audits is a, I'm sorry, did you?
No, I'm sorry.
Comment, audits are a way for the board to evaluate the operation of those entities that we regulate. And every utility is audited periodically. And we want to make sure that things are going in the direction that they should be, and audits will demonstrate that to us. So we thank the audit division certainly for the amount of work that they do in facilitating these audits, because it is a lot of work. Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakola?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Ferlisa?
Yes. Thank you. That brings us to energy, and the first item, or the first two items really, Ryan. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to be pinch hitting for Paul and doing all 4. Or it's multiple, the last one's multiple, but it's roughly 4 things. So you will see my face a little bit longer.
We'll try to tolerate that.
Okay, item 2A. At its April 21st, 2017 public agenda meeting, the board authorized staff to issue an RFP on behalf of the board to hire a consultant to perform oversight of the BGS auction process. After scoring, the evaluation committee determined that Bates White LLC should be awarded the RFP contract, which the board approved. The contract was for a 3-year period, beginning with the 2018 BGS process, which commenced July 1, 2017, and provided that the contract may be extended for all or part of 3 one-year periods by mutual written consent of Bates White and the board. In May 2020, the board authorized staff to extend the contract for the first 1-year extension term to complete the 2021 BGS procurement process. In May 2021, the board authorized staff to extend the contract for the second 1-year extension term to complete the 2022 BGS procurement process. Based on its continued satisfaction with Bates White's performance, staff is now recommending that the board authorize staff to extend the contract for the third 1-year term in order to complete the 2023 BGS procurement process. Staff notes that this is the final authorized extension, and staff is working to develop a new RFP for release.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Ryan? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakola?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Ferlisa?
Yes. And 2B.
2B. So 2/3 of the state's basic generation service requirements for residential and small commercial pricing customers are under contract for the period of June 1, 2023 through May 31st, 2024. The board must determine how the remaining 1/3 of the state's BGS requirements for RSCP customers, as well as the state's annual BGS requirements for commercial and industrial energy pricing customers, should be procured beginning June 1, 2023. Staff is recommending that the board initiate a transparent and public proceeding consistent with that employed for the past 21 years to determine what type of process should be used for the procurement of BGS RSCP and BGS CIEP supply and the capacity needs of Rockland's non-PJM service area within New Jersey. To initiate this proceeding, board staff recommends that the board approve a procedural order that would result in a board decision on the process in November 2022 and would permit a BGS procurement process in February 2023. Further, staff recommends that the board direct the electric distribution companies to make a BGS filing by July 1, 2022, describing how they intend to procure the remaining BGS RSCP and BGS CIEP requirements. This should also include a proposal from Rockland as part of its July 1, 2022 BGS filing for procuring the capacity requirements for its non-PJM service area within New Jersey. In addition, board staff also recommends that the board invite other interested stakeholders to file any alternative BGS procurement process with the board by July 1, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakola?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes. And then, 2C, a PSE&G matter.
Right. On June 1st, 2021, Public Service Electric and Gas Company filed its annual BGSS petition seeking approval to maintain its current per-therm periodic BGSS residential gas service rate and to increase its per-therm balancing charge rate. In November 2021, the board issued an order authorizing the company to maintain its per-therm BGSS rate and modify its balancing charge rate on a provisional basis effective December 1, 2021. As a result of that order, the monthly bill of a residential heating customer using 100 therms was expected to increase by $5.38. On December 1, 2021 and February 1st, 2022, PSE&G self-implemented a periodic BGSS rate adjustment based on a 5% increase of the monthly bill of a typical residential customer using 100 therms. The parties have now executed a stipulation requesting the board approve the provisionally approved BGSS and balancing charge rates on a final basis, which was subsequently approved by ALJ Gail Cookson. Additionally, pursuant to the stipulation, PSE&G will execute an amendment to the requirements contract for a 5-year extension, continuing on a year-to-year basis thereafter, subject to a 2-year termination notice requirement. As a result of this stipulation, there is no additional bill impact on ratepayers. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the initial decision and stipulation, directing PSE&G to file revised tariffs by May 1st, 2022, and directing PSE&G to file a copy of the executed amendment to the requirements contract no later than 30 days after the date of the order.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakola?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2D, Rockland Electric.
So this is going to be one presentation for 2D through 2H, and then we'll have to vote on it one by one. On May 23rd, 2018, Governor Murphy signed a law that required the board to implement a zero-emission certificate program within specified timelines. Under the act, the board must approve certain eligible nuclear energy generators to receive ZECs, which New Jersey's electric distribution companies would be required to purchase. The act also provided that the board shall order the full recovery of the EDC's costs associated with the purchased ZECs through a non-bypassable charge imposed on each EDC's retail distribution customers. The EDCs were further directed to file a tariff to recover ZEC program costs from its retail customers and to return excess monies to the retail distribution customers at the end of each energy year. In October 2021, each EDC submitted a filing seeking to refund the excess ZEC collections and the corresponding interest related to energy year 2021. Rate Counsel has filed comments in each docket not opposing the modified rates. However, Rate Counsel commented on the proposal by several EDCs to make future ZEC reconciliation charges as compliance filings. For a typical residential customer using 650 kilowatt hours per month, the monthly bill impact of the October 2021 filings for each EDC is as follows. A 4-cent increase for PSE&G and JCP&L, a 5-cent increase for ACE and Butler, and a 6 cents decrease for RICO. Staff recommends that the board approve the tariff and rate changes as proposed by each EDC. Staff also recommends that to the extent it was requested by an EDC, the board deny the request to file revised rates via compliance filings. Staff further recommends that the board direct the EDCs to file revised tariff sheets prior to May 1st, 2022 for services rendered on and after May 1st, 2022.
As to Rockland Electric Company, I'll move it.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ryan, I see the Rockland Electric has got a 6 cents decrease. Is that because they procured it from NISO
No, I don't believe that has to do with NISO.
It's just a function of the distribution usage. So it's just truing up what they were supposed to collect and what they did. So just related to usage.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes.
As to Atlantic City Electric Company, I move it.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And Ryan F.
As to Public Service Electric and Gas Company, I'll move it.
Second.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes.
And as to Butler Electric, I'll move that.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes.
And last but not least, as to Jersey Central Power and Light Company. I'll
Second.
move it.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Commissioner Holden, you did a fantastic job on
I learned from the best.
that. Yeah.
Thank
Thank you, Ryan.
Have a good day.
There are no items under cable television, no items under, telecommunications, LaWanda. And we did talk about this in executive session, did we?
That is correct, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioners. As you know, this item was discussed in executive session, and at this time, we request that, staff requests that the board approve recommendation as discussed in executive session.
I'll move it.
Second.
You were a little slow on that.
No jeopardy for you.
Late buzzer on that. Any comments, questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner
Yes.
Holden, Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, LaWanda. There are no items under water, no items under reliability and security for consideration. Customer assistance, Julie. Regarding the customer bill of rights.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
This matter before the board concerns revisions of amendments to PL 2021 C13, which was signed by the governor on March 24, 2022, which extends the prohibition on utility shutoffs for certain customers and requires the utility companies to offer customers a payment plan with no requirement of a down payment or associated reconnection fees. Board staff recommends the board revise the most recently updated utility custom bill of rights to remove dates that no longer apply and to include the new legislative protections. Additionally, there is a request for a waiver to be excused from certain notice requirements from the township, the Dover Water Commission, which Director Mike Cameron will be addressing at a later time. The December 2021 legislation was amended on March 24, 2022. The legislation extended utility protection for certain customers by adding a section requiring utilities to continue providing services to those customers who applied to a state agency prior to June 15, 2022 for utility bill assistance and who are waiting for a decision on their application. Utilities who disconnected those customers after March 15, 2022 for non-payment are required to restore those services immediately. The amendment also provides that customers who submit an application before June 15, 2022 will continue to receive utility service for 60 days to complete the application process by providing the required supporting documentation. Once all actions required by the customer have been taken within that 60 days, utilities are required to continue utility service until the application has been accepted or rejected. If a customer fails to complete the application within the 60 days, or once a determination has been made on the completed application, utilities must then offer the customer a no money down plan before utility service may be disconnected. For water, sewer, and winter termination program utility customers, the no money down plan applies to any unpaid balances accrued prior to the end of the 60 days or the date of determination as applicable. For electric, gas, and non-participating WTP utility customers, the no money down plan applies to any unpaid balances accrued prior to December 31st, 2021, and after the end of the 60 days or the date of determination as applicable. The period from January 1st, 2022 to March 14, 2022 is not made part of the no money down plan for this group of customers. All utility customers have 30 days to agree to the no money down plan, or the utilities may begin the collection process on an unpaid balance. However, in this case, prior to terminating service, utilities must offer the customer a deferred payment plan pursuant to the board's regulations found in NJAC 14.3-7.7, which allows a utility to require a down payment of up to 25% of the unpaid balance. The January 2022 Bill of Rights contains dates that have since been extended by the newly enacted legislation. Additionally, since the January 2022 Bill of Rights was issued, additional protections have been granted to utility customers. Therefore, it is necessary and appropriate for the board to update the January 2022 Bill of Rights to reflect current law as it relates to customer protections from utility service discontinuance. The following are staff's recommendations. Staff recommends that the board update the January 2022 Bill of Rights as set forth in the order. Staff notes that the order and the newly updated Bill of Rights supersedes all previous versions of the Bill of Rights. Staff further recommends the board direct the utilities comply with the following notice requirements, which pertains to all gas, electric, water, and incumbent local exchange telephone public utilities within the jurisdiction of the board. Provide all current residential customers with a copy of the newly revised updated Bill of Rights in the next billing cycle and thereafter on a monthly basis until after the termination of Executive Order 103. Customers who receive printed bills shall receive the updated Bill of Rights in paper format, and those who receive in their bills electronically will receive it electronically. To provide the new Bill of Rights to all new customers for new service. Pursuant to the May 2021 legislation, provide the newly revised updated Bill of Rights in English and translated version where the primary language of 10% or more of the population within a municipality is a language other than English, and provide the board with a copy of the English version and translated version if applicable. Prominently display on the utility company's website the Bill of Rights if applicable. Report compliance to the board with these notice requirements by May 1st, 2022, detailing the method of distribution to customers, describing all changes made to billing and collections operations in compliance with the applicable laws. Or two, the utility determines in good faith that a utility emergency exists that requires discontinuance or interruption of service to the residential customer. That's all on the Bill of Rights, and Mike will do the Dover request after we vote on the Bill of Rights.
It's one vote.
It's one vote.
One vote, okay.
Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Good morning, Michael.
On February 17, 2022, the Town of Dover Water Commission requested a waiver of the May 21st, May 2021 legislation monthly notice requirement. Dover is one of 9 municipal water utilities that is partially subject to the board's jurisdiction because it serves 1,000 or more individually billed customers outside of Dover. Dover's request for a waiver is based on the fact that it bills customers quarterly, and its representation that a monthly mailing notice and the transmission requirement would significantly increase expenses. Dover claims that customers have access to the Bill of Rights on its website. Accordingly, Dover requested that the board approve the waiver and reduce the monthly notice requirements to quarterly. Staff recommends that the board deny Dover's request for a waiver because the legislation does not give the board authority to waive the statutory notice requirements. Here, the requirement in the law is a monthly notice to customers, and the law does not provide for any exceptions. However, Dover should wish to submit a request to the board with an alternative proposal for the board's consideration. Staff recommends that the board consider the request when and if it's filed.
So moved.
Second.
Who else does Dover supply, Michael?
It serves Mine Hill and parts of Randolph and parts of Andover.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Based on at least one conversation with the sponsors of the original legislation, I'm confident that they did not appreciate the fact that there are small companies out there for whom these requirements are a real burden. And, I just think it would be perhaps the best approach to this issue is for the legislature to do what is often called a cleanup bill and make some amendments to the legislation to perhaps carve out companies that satisfy whatever requirements the legislature decides to make, such as size or number of customers. But these companies shouldn't be required to come to us seeking relief when I think there's a more efficient solution to this.
And that's why we encourage legislators, if they are going to drop a bill that involves something that we're involved in, or regulate or oversee, to seek our input.
Yeah.
What a concept.
Yeah, we would have made it clear that there are companies out there that are small, the companies that do not bill monthly, and we weren't asked.
No, so we will, and that is on the docket, because I think that is appropriate and the direction we should go. And we could save a lot of time if there was this cross cooperation in many different types of legislation over the years.
Yes.
So, and we encourage it, but obviously we're two different branches of government, and they will do what they want to do, and the executive branch will do what we want to do. So, but it would be helpful.
It was a much smaller population. I think it was Shorewater?
Shorewater Company has 1,200 seasonal customers. They only get water from April through October, and 2 year-round customers, and the 2 year-round customers are both the state facilities, Island Beach State Park and the Governor's Shore House. And that would be one example of a company that is going to expend a significant amount of money to comply with the requirements of this legislation that's ultimately going to be passed on to ratepayers in a subsequent rate case.
Wasn't that one, I think we offered as intermediate relief until some kind of legislative process would take place, if they could collect and email the utility bill?
In the case of Shore, if they have an email address for the customer, they are going to be emailing the customers monthly. But if in the rare instances that they don't have an email address, they're going to be doing it monthly. And since it is a seasonal population, most of the customers that they don't have email addresses for live in suburban Philadelphia and Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I know that's, intermediate relief for some of these. They could capture email addresses.
Yeah, I mean,
reduce some of the bill.
yeah, I mean, one of Dover's customers is the Picatinny Arsenal, so it's you know, they're gonna be getting the same notice that the residential customers get. So it's unfortunate that the legislation doesn't provide for any exemptions, but as the President and I both indicated, we weren't asked. Yeah.
Diane?
Yeah, I just wanted to note that, you know, I do see on a regular basis, we are now meeting with legislators, which I think is a, you know, wonderful idea to alert them to the interrelationship with the Board of Public Utility. I think that's great outreach on our part. And note that we do have a quarterly meeting tomorrow, so I would urge any staff from the legislative side who, you know, may have an interest or proposing a bill or, you know, to maybe come tomorrow and, you know, or tune in and let their voices be heard, or just say hello, whatever it is that they want to do. It'll be a nice opportunity to, you know, participate with us.
You better?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. Like, I think that most people now they don't have their landline, they all have telephone. Maybe text messaging could be an option to look at. Something to think about, yeah, so. But anyway, I just want to make a general comment, Mr. President. Nothing about the rules, but I think the legislation that is driving this, the law that's driving this rule making process is, I think, has not thought through the unintended consequences. One of the unintended consequences I see, apart from the some of the companies' ability to bill because of their size, the other one is that there is no differentiation between people who have the ability to pay and do not want to pay, and people who don't have the ability to pay and they need the assistance. I think this is where I think this overreaching legislation creating problems, all kinds of problems, and it doesn't solve the problem. It's going to prolong the problem, make it difficult for the utilities towards the bill collection process. I think the legislators should think about it. The government also should think about it before signing this type of legislation. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Julie.
Okay, thank you.
Brings us to clean energy. Phil, I think you're first up on budget modification, and I might note that this was discussed in executive session, and all of the commissioners were all thoroughly briefed on it in addition to the executive session. So, Phil?
Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Good morning.
On September 22nd, 2017, the Board authorized the President of the Board to execute a contract for research and evaluation services between the Board and the Rutgers Center for Green Building. This contract provides staffing, expertise, and resources necessary to perform programmatic evaluations and cost-benefit analysis of the New Jersey Clean Energy programs, and provides staff with technical assistance on a range of energy efficiency and renewable energy issues. The original contract term, which ran from November 1st, 2017 to October 31st, 2018, has been extended through 7 contract amendments, the most recent one of which extended the contract to the end of this fiscal year, June 30th, 2022. This FY22 budget modification attendant to the contract extension does not change the total remaining budget established on June 23rd, 2021, but shifts funds across budget categories to accommodate a change in services. This item was discussed in executive session, and staff recommends that the board approve this FY22 budget modification for the Rutgers Center for Green Building. Staff also requests that the board authorize President Fiordaliso to execute the FY22 budget modification on behalf of the board.
You know, if you mispronounce that name. The party's over, Phil.
Give them the first one, right?
I'll move it.
Move it. Do I have a
Second.
Questions, comments for Phil? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, thank you, Phil. You still look down, right?
Absolutely.
Scott, I think you have the next two items, Scott.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, this item relates to the administratively determined incentive program, or the ADI program, and a need to waive the rules at Title 14, Chapter 8, Subchapter 11.4B for two sets of projects. On review of post-construction certification packages, the ADI registration processing team found approximately 250 solar projects had commenced construction prior to receipt of the notice of conditional registration. Additionally, the board has received 5 petitions from residential solar owners whose projects had commenced commercial operations prior to the opening of the ADI program registration portal on August 28, 2021. The rule prohibition against starting construction prior to receiving the notice of conditional registration is designed to ensure that solar incentives go only to projects that need incentives. Additionally, this provision was designed to ensure that when confronted with the impending closure of a market segment in the ADI due to full subscription of a megawatt block, developers do not rush to construct in hopes that commencement of construction without a valid registration would lock in an incentive value. Staff believes that the circumstances surrounding the 250 projects are unique to the period during the fall and winter of 2021, when the registration processing team was giving priority to reviewing transition incentive program registrations over ADI program registrations. As a result, there were delays in the issuance of notices of conditional registration in the ADI program, and projects commenced construction before receiving the green light. We expect that there may be additional projects that are similarly situated that we have yet to discover. Staff have 3 recommendations to address the projects that have violated this section of the ADI rules. First, with respect to the projects that commence construction before receiving notice of conditional registration, staff recommends that the board waive the prohibition against commencing construction prior to receipt of the ADI notice of conditional registration. Second, that the board waive this provision of the rule through May 31st, 2022. And third, with respect to the 5 petitions where projects commence commercial operations before the opening of the ADI registration portal, staff recommends that the board find good cause to grant the petitions waiving the rule and stipulate that the qualification life and the start date for SREC 2 creation for each of these projects begins on August 28, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Yes.
No, I think this is only reasonable way to proceed. Here usually we get complaints about how slow the process is, and here are people that are eager to install.
Right.
We've kind of tripped them up on this side. I think it's a good compromise.
Yeah, that's comment also. Yeah, and, you know, on the flip side, where, you know, people have not moved ahead in the way that we've been punitive, I think when they do, you know, move these projects forward, we should be maybe perhaps more lenient and forgiving. So, you know, I think that's equal justice and weighted properly.
Any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And item C, Scott?
Yes, sir. This item relates to the transition incentive program, or the TI program, and the need to clarify the rule requirement with respect to the submission of post-construction certification packages Title 14, Chapter 8, Subchapter 10.4. There are over 3,300 TI projects which are scheduled to expire on April 30th of 2022. And under a strict reading of the TI program rules, projects must submit a complete post-construction certification package by this deadline. The rules provide no opportunity to cure deficiencies. Our TI registration processing team reports some confusion and concern among developers over the post-construction certification requirements. Specifically, the process for curing any deficiencies in the post-construction certification package, or what is commonly called the final as-built paperwork. The TI eligibility rules require that facilities must commence commercial operations and submit a complete post-construction certification package prior to the expiration of the conditional registration. Each package must contain 8 items to be submitted by the deadline, including a very detailed final as-built technical worksheet. Staff is concerned about post-construction certification packages submitted before the deadline that have deficiencies but are not provided an opportunity to cure. The SREC registration program contained an opportunity for developers to cure deficiencies in final as-built paperwork that were filed before the registration expiration deadline, which worked well. Staff have 2 recommendations. First, staff recommends the board clarify that a project with an active TI incentive registration that has submitted a post-construction certification package before the expiration date will be afforded an opportunity to cure a deficient submittal by relaxing the rules at Title 14, Chapter 8, Subchapter 10.4, F4. Additionally, staff recommends that registrants that achieved permission to operate and filed a post-construction certification package prior to the registration expiration date, where the package is found to be deficient by the TI manager, be provided 30 days from the date of the deficiency notice to cure the deficiencies.
So moved.
Second.
So this in essence would give them a longer period of time to cure whatever deficiencies exist,
If there are any
if
deficiencies.
there are any.
That's right.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Ferdeliso.
Yes. Thank you, Scott. You, Stacy?
It was I.
It's you. It says Kelly Moy here. You're not Kelly.
Not today.
That's it. So what do you have for
Hello,
us?
Commissioners. This is item 8E. This matter pertains to New Jersey's 2022 to 2023 State Energy Program, or SEP, plan proposal. Staff requests that the Board approve the Division of Clean Energy's proposed 2022 to 23 SEP plan, which represents the 3rd year of the current 3-year SEP program cycle. The total SEP plan includes a proposed budget of $4,420,620 in federal funding and $589,170 in state match funds, including the federal funding and state match allocation for program years 1 and 2, plus the new federal allocation of $1,474,770. For program year 3, staff proposes the continuation of current programs that will support the board in its efforts to meet the state's EMP goals, as well as the SEP goals of using energy more efficiently and reducing the rate of growth in our energy consumption. The proposal includes continued funding in the following areas: development of a state energy security plan, incorporating health and safety measures into energy efficiency upgrades through the Whole House Pilot Program, developing a roadmap to achieve the building sector decarbonization goals set forth in the EMP and other state authorities, and establishing a customer relationship management system to support the benchmarking program called for in the Clean Energy Act. The program year 3 proposal would include no new funding for the non-IOU program that expanded eligibility of customers served by New Jersey's Clean Energy Program through the end of fiscal year 2021, and no new funding for training programs and conferences for staff. I'd like to note that the non-IOU program was closed due to the transition of many energy efficiency programs to the utility companies, but staff is exploring ways to continue to offer an energy efficiency program to customers not served by investor-owned utilities in the near future. In summary, staff requests board approval to submit the 2022 to 2023 State Energy Program Plan application to the United States Department of Energy.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? For Stacy? Yes.
No, thank you, Stacy, for pursuing that with the non-investor owned, the 9 units that we have in the state. Really appreciate that, being able to restore it, even if it's just a prescriptive program, so thank you very
Of
much.
course, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fertiliso.
Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Stacy. There are no items under miscellaneous. Are there any other items that my colleagues want to bring up? Yes.
Just one, I wanted to just say thank you to those that participated in the exercise yesterday for the Broken Silos event through Division of Reliability, and all the utilities that participated. You know, I sat in as an observer for a good part of it, and you know, it's a very enlightening exercise. You know, I'm sure we'll all be hearing more about it, but it you know, was very well run, and you know, an interesting exercise. To kudos to all who organized and participated.
Good. Good. Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number one.